This programming is sponsored by Central Market, starting the new year with cold-pressed juices, fresh produce, fresh seafood, and an array of supplements, sports nutrition, and body care. More at centralmarket.com.
This is the Engines of Our Ingenuity, made possible by the Friends of KUHF Houston.
Today, UH scholar Richard Armstrong tells us about the longest year in history. The Honors College at the University of Houston presents this program about the machines that make our civilization run and the people whose ingenuity created them.
What was the longest year in history? It sounds like a silly question, but it's not. There is a correct answer. It was 46 BC. Julius Caesar stretched that year out to a whopping size. He wanted to make the following year begin at the right time again, that is, after the winter solstice. Using the best astronomy and mathematics of the time, Caesar tinkered the old Roman calendar to make it fit the reality of the solar year. That's the year of 365 days, plus a few hours that we take for granted today. We still divide it into 12 months and still call them by their Roman names. But to begin this new measure of time, Caesar declared a transitional year of 445 days. It was known as the last year of confusion. People began the year 46 making plans in the usual way. But suddenly they were told the year would have 3 additional months. Imagine how that could affect your mortgage. Before Caesar's reform, the Roman calendar was in a terrible mess. Originally it was based on the moon, not the sun. Lunar calendars take their dates from observed lunar phases, new moon to full moon, and back again. The priests of Rome juggled a shifting 12-month calendar that ran at least 10 days behind the solar year. In theory, they could tack additional days onto February every other year, in order to make calendar dates coincide more with the natural seasons. But this meant that the priests had to pay attention and make adjusting the calendar a serious priority. However, the years before Caesar's rise to power were extremely turbulent. The calendar slipped farther and farther behind amid all the political turmoil. Harvest festivals no longer fell at harvest time. If the old calendar system seems arbitrary, remember what a calendar was in those days. We think of the calendar as a universal measure of time. It's like a perfect grid that can be extended endlessly into the future. There's a website that tells me my birthday in the year 2128 will fall on a Monday. But in antiquity, calendars were simply ways of organizing religious festivals, the terms of contracts, and other social arrangements. People knew calendars could be shifted and manipulated, even for political reasons. Priests and officials kept the time, and different calendars were in use throughout the world. Calendar time simply wasn't as fixed back then. An ancient calendar was more like a schedule, subject to change and revision. So Caesar's reform was all the more remarkable. As both high priest and dictator of Rome, he had the authority to impose a whole new scheme on the Roman world. Cicero joked that this man now wished to control the very stars, which rose according to his new calendar as if by edict. Caesar's calendar still needed some minor adjustments, but Europe never got another jumbo year like 46 BC. And to this day, we are still marching along on Caesar's time. I'm Richard Armstrong at the University of Houston, where we're interested in the way inventive minds work.
This programming is sponsored by Trinity University, where the spirit of inquiry can inspire a resilient and diverse community of lifelong learners to answer questions and question answers. More information at trinity.edu/values.